Coming up, Grudgman. University of Iowa students prepare to face off against their rivals once again. And later, students feel the pressure over rising prices.
Iowa looks to keep the Cyhawk trophy.
Cool weekend? Revenge is a dish best served cold, but will the Cyclones bring it with them? I'll have the scoop in weather.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Friday, September 6th. I'm Johnny Valtman.
And I'm Colin Carruthers.
And the third member of our team, Ryan Lynch, is live outside to tell us today's weather story.
Yeah, Ryan, are the Cyclones bringing some crazy weather with them?
Well, Colin, it was a bit on the chilly side on my stroll over to the studio this morning, and right now it is about only 59 degrees outside. And taking a look at campus right outside the main library, the weather should cool today as it is expected to be around 73 degrees. And this may be the start of some fall-like weather for this first full weekend of September. As we get into tonight, it should be on the colder side at about 47 degrees. The high for tomorrow will only be at about 69 degrees. And later in weather, I'll let you know what to expect for game day. But for now, I'll toss it to DITV's Draven Murty, who's been around town to talk to students about the rivalry.
Thanks, Ryan. While tomorrow might be all about football, this week on campus it's been all about good old-fashioned rivalry.
The main event may be on Saturday afternoon, but hate week around Iowa City has all Hawkeye fans feeling the same way about the Cyclones.
Constant hatred, all week long, all year really, but it's been pretty good the past 3 years.
I just remind them of the game. Like, the score says it all. We're a Hawkeye state. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, it runs deep. I was bred to hate Iowa State.
While every Hawkeye fan feels the same way about the Cyclones, it's up to each of them to determine how they want to show it on game day.
We've seen the tarps and the towels, all the jokes being outlined, but we haven't done any of that yet. I'm sure we'll get some apparel, maybe say some bad things about State, of course. So
I've been talking, and that's all I've been doing. But we're going to back it up.
The game might only happen once a year, but for some of these fans, the emotions have been running deep for quite a while.
For one time, we all went up to Ames. We were probably about like 6 or 7, and my dad told us all to go pee on a statue.
Been here 3 years. It's been great every time.
While it's been a lot of fun on campus this week, it all comes to a head tomorrow when the Hawkeyes take on the Cyclones. Back to you in the studio, Colin and Johnny.
Thanks, Draven. And before the battle begins on the field at the Cyhawk game, the U Iowa ROTC is planning to give back to the community. UI cadets will be symbolically running the game ball to Kinnick Stadium from Tama, stopping in towns such as Williamsburg, Marengo, and Belle Plaine along the way. While in these towns, they will be visiting local schools and supporting local food banks. The cadets will be traveling by foot and van and will be accompanied by Herky the Hawk and the cheerleaders of the Hawkeyes, members of the Iowa National Guard as well. The goal is for these cadets to run a combined 10 to 12 miles at checkpoints along the way. This is a tradition that has been carried out by the ROTC for nearly 50 years.
We're going to acknowledge the teachers and the faculty that have helped us as college students get to where we are today. And we're going to recognize the students who have been identified as some of the standout people within their schools.
Once they reach Tama, members of the Iowa State ROTC will hand the ball off to the U Iowa cadets, who will then take the ball back to Kinnick. A stabbing occurred outside the Robert E. Lee Recreational Center last night. At 6:39, the University of Iowa's public safety released a hawk alert notifying students of the stabbing. At 7:23, another alert was sent to students that the scene was clear. A further report at 8 was released, revealing a fight broke out between juveniles prior to the stabbing. The victim was treated for a wound and was later released. The police are still investigating the stabbing, and note that was actually on Wednesday night, not last night. A new state audit revealed that a former member of the university's physics and astronomy department deposited nearly $1 million into a personal bank account. Brian Bush used to fund his own company, Design Tech, using university resources, such as staff and equipment. Bush was put on administrative leave on September 17, 2021, and was fired recently on August 28, 2024. Since the audit, the university's machine shop has updated its job procedures to make sure all work is properly documented. Johnson County's executive director, Guillermo Morales, has been voted off the board of supervisors in a 3-2 decision. Morales was voted off with accusations of being insubordinative, argumentative, and disrespectful to other board members. Morales stated that he was not surprised by the board's decision, as his aggressive approach to problems is not widely accepted. He also posed the question of whether his dismissal was a result of him being the first Latino director of Johnson County's Board of Supervisors. Despite the fallout between Morales and the board, he expressed that he would return to the position if given the opportunity. A special measure on the November ballot will give Iowans a say in the choosing of a new lieutenant governor. The measure would be added to the state's constitution, in which if the governor stepped down, the lieutenant governor would then become governor. It would open up the lieutenant governor position to whoever the governor chooses to take that place, breaking the line of succession. Iowans will vote either yes or no on November 5th. With the new school year underway, some students are concerned about the rising cost of textbooks. The University of Iowa estimates that the average student will spend nearly $1,000 on textbooks each semester, though this price has gradually increasing over the years. However, new solutions are being offered to help students with the prices, such as offering book rentals rather than permanent purchases.
I was shocked when I had to pay $50 for a rental book that I'm going to have for 3 months and not even probably read the entire thing.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of our professors have negotiated for lower prices on our textbooks. It is in the e-textbook form, so that might not be for everybody, but for the people who enjoy that, you can have your books at a lower cost.
When I was in school, you could only purchase, so you couldn't rent. So you had that difference between used and new, but that rental process definitely helps bring prices down for students.
Developed by the university, some students still feel at odds with the cost of these required materials. As of yesterday, 14 herds of cows have the avian flu. While the virus persists, scientists at the National Disease Center in Ames, Iowa, are working to find a solution. It is uncommon for dairy cows to come down with the bird flu, but since they have, researchers at the center aim to create a vaccine for them. This vaccine could stop the spread of the virus. The center has a historical record of creating vaccines for various domestic animals, including cows, chickens, and pigs. Dairy products are safe to consume even without a vaccine approved for distribution to the affected cows. For more information, visit cdc.gov/bird flu. Long waits are impacting government services. The Iowa City Housing Authority is closing their public housing program applications and wait lists on October 1st due to a 3-year wait for housing units. There is currently no reopen date. Iowa City Housing Administration will be working with Johnson County Coordinated Entry and other partners to provide additional housing opportunities during this time. Iowa City has been ranked as the 17th best place to live in the Midwest, according to a new poll from livability.com. The ranking, which includes cities with 75,000 to 500,000 people, uses a system to weigh a number of factors to determine placement. At number 17, Iowa City's rating is due in part to its art scene, transportation, and education. Tune in later today for the premiere of a brand new segment produced by DITV. Hosted by DITV Assistant News Director Jace Bertrand, Second Opinion brings in professors and faculty with the University of Iowa to give their opinions and expertise on hot topic issues. Episodes are released twice a month on Friday mornings, just like this morning, Colin. And coming up later, a national holiday celebrates giving to the community. But first, Colin, we're going to take a look back outside with Ryan Lynch for the forecast for game day tomorrow.
Thanks, Johnny. And with week 2 starting for college football, it's time for the Iowa Hawkeyes to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. And tomorrow's game may be a little cooler than last week, as the temperatures should be expected to be under about 70 degrees all day. Hey, the tailgating opens at 8:30, so it should be in the 50s when the party starts, so it might be time to break out the long sleeves. The weather should warm up a bit for the game at 2:30, as temperatures should reach about 68 degrees. Post-game temperatures for your drive home tomorrow should cool back down just slightly. I'll have the weather for the week ahead later, but for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Ryan and Colin. Wow, I mean, I might have to go for a walk before and after the game just to enjoy this great weather.
Yeah, it's going to be great for the weather outside for the game tomorrow, but for all of Hawkeye sports, but of course the big game coming up. We're going to start with the Iowa Corn Cyhawk matchup tomorrow afternoon. The rivalry back in Kinnick for the 71st meeting between Iowa and Iowa State. And with it being such a major game, the Hawks will be leaning on that stadium crowd to help Iowa show out for the state.
I mean, we just know what the process takes. We know what the rivalry entails. We know what it means to the state, but we also just kind of understand, like, I mean, that's a heck of a football unit out there, too.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. You know, a lot of people are going to care about this game. Obviously, the Kinnick Stadium is going to be rocking. Fan base is going to be rocking. And it's cool, especially defensively, when you're playing with 70,000 people who are rooting you on. So hopefully we get them in those end zones where it gets pretty loud.
Now looking at Iowa State, they're coming off a win against North Dakota, but have already suffered a massive loss headed into Saturday, where they'll be without star linebacker Caleb Bacon. This loss for the Cyclones could significantly impact their defense. But it was just one season ago that Iowa won a nail-biter to return the series trophy to Iowa City. The Hawkeyes have conquered the Cyclones 7 out of the last 8 meetings and lead the all-time series 47-23. The game is scheduled to kick off on CBS at 2:40 p.m. And with the big rivalry game this weekend, one Hawkeye fan is looking forward to the game for more reasons than just one. We'll now send it over to the newsroom to Cindy Goldberg.
Thanks, Colin. Kid captain Atlas Coleman will be joining the Hawkeyes down on the field tomorrow. At just 18 months old, Atlas was diagnosed with pleuropulmonary blastoma and was taken to the hospital for an initial lung concern, but left with a much larger diagnosis.
He's a strong little kid. He's full of energy, resilient, and he was like that when he was a year and a half undergoing chemo.
Then Atlas began his 6 months of chemotherapy, which led him into remission. Now, at 8 years old, Atlas is a fun-seeking, hockey-playing, and turtle-loving kid, and with his love for the Hawkeyes, is excited to step on the field as the Week 2 kid captain.
Told Atlas on a Friday night once we were all together, and he was just pure joy. So excited, did a whole victory dance. It was great.
On Kids Day, Atlas enjoyed being down on the field, meeting the Hawkeye football team, and received trading cards with players' autographs. In exchange, players asked Atlas for his autograph. After meeting the Hawks, Atlas is eager and ready to lead the team out onto the field for the Cyhawk game. From the University of Iowa, Sydney Goldberg, DITV.
Iowa, you'll want to know everything you can for the upcoming showdown. Here's a preview of Before the Kickoff, the Daily Island's weekly pregame show.
This is the game Hawkeye fans wait 364 days out of the year for, and it's finally upon us.
Yeah, that's right, Colin. Iowans all across the state pick their colors, sit down on their couch, and get ready for a good old-fashioned rivalry football game.
Yeah, Brady, the Iowa State Cyclones always play this Hawkeyes team tough, but this team could really give the Hawks a run for their money.
Yeah, Colin, they certainly could make things interesting this week. I spoke with Brett Twellmeyer, the sports editor for the Iowa State Daily, about some of the key players for the Cyclones this weekend.
Before the Kickoff goes live at 9:30 a.m. this morning on the Daily Iowan YouTube page. And on Wednesday, the Iowa men's basketball team announced their non-conference schedule for the upcoming season. They will play in the comfort of Carver Hawkeye Arena 9 times against non-conference teams and will play 3 neutral site contests throughout the year as well. Later on the season, the annual Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series game will take place on December 12th. Tickets for the upcoming season are now on sale at HawkeyeSports.com. And Iowa freshman Naomi Simon finished 3rd in the 76 kilograms at the U20 World Championships for wrestling. The Hawkeye native beat Japan's Shisato Yoshida 9-0. She took the lead with 50 seconds left in the first period, and she had another late attack at the end of the first to give her the 7-0 lead. She then scored a takedown late in the second period, making it 9-0 and thus winning bronze. She's only one of 4 Iowa women's wrestlers to place in the championships. And before we get into the rest of the Iowa sports, a hearing that could completely reshape collegiate athletics underwent yesterday. California-based federal judge Claudia Wilkin collected statements to decide on whether or not to approve a settlement between the NCAA, the 5 power conferences, and the number of Division I athletes. The settlement was originally agreed upon back in May to pay athletes $2.7 billion for losses in previous NIL restrictions. The settlement would also allow schools to pay athletes directly with a limit of $20 to $23 million per school. Judge Wilkins stated yesterday that all involved parties should rework the settlement and that she had multiple concerns with it. And back to the field, the Iowa women's soccer team will host the Baylor Bears for senior night this Sunday. Ranked 22nd in the country, this will be the Hawkeyes' first game played as a ranked team this season, after defeating both FGCU and Wake Forest this past weekend. However, Baylor is coming into Iowa City fuming hot with a 4-game win streak under the belts to start off their season. Their Hawkeyes are looking to continue the 2-game win streak of their own and get their 3rd straight win on senior night. And another Iowa team is on a hot start to start the season. The Iowa volleyball team has won their first 2 games of the season, immediately sparking a stronger start than they had last year. Last season, the Hawkeyes finished 8-24 with a 20-game losing streak. And to close out the year, they landed at 226 in the final RPI NCAA rankings. They're looking to bounce back this year, starting with the Hawkeye Invitational this weekend. Later today, in their home opener, the Hawks will host San Jose State and Delaware, and they'll take on Cal Baptist tomorrow evening. And today at 2 p.m., the Iowa field hockey team is set to play Miami of Ohio for their home opener and their 3rd match of the season. While the Hawkeyes are currently ranked 6th in the country, this is still important that they get a win today. They are just coming off a loss against the University of North Carolina last Sunday. The last time the Hawkeyes faced the Miami Redhawks was back in October of 2014, where the Hawkeyes unfortunately lost. Miami of Ohio has won both of their games this season and are looking to make that 3 on the year. So a lot going on, Johnny, but as you mentioned, it should be a good weekend to go out and watch all those sports.
It does, and we're going to send it right back out to Ryan, where he's going to give us a look at the weekend ahead and, of course, going into next week.
Thanks, Johnny. And while this weekend may be on the cooler side, there is some good news ahead for those who want to savor the summer heat. And as we look live at the Pinnacrist, starting on Sunday, it should start to warm back up with a high of about 75 degrees. It should continue to warm as we get into the week, as Monday should see a high of about 82 degrees. The trend should continue for the rest of the week. Tuesday through Friday is expected to have temperatures in the upper 80s. And again, with this cool weekend ahead, it'll be nice to have some more heat so we can ease into the fall on September 22nd. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Ryan. And Colin, today is National Food Bank Day. National Food Bank Day serves as a reminder that no one should go to bed hungry and that food insecurity is still an issue today. This day encourages people to fight hunger by donating to a local food pantry. St. Mary's Food Bank founded National Food Bank Day in 2017 to celebrate the volunteers and contributes to food banks. Thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We're here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at thedailyiowan.com.
For Ryan Lynch, Colin Carruthers, I'm Johnny Vaughtman, and we'll see you again Monday morning right here on DITV.